Research is the backbone of your book. That is what makes it so much easier to do. So I really do recommend you doing your research, because your writing process is going to be so much easier when you've actually done your research. In this video, I'm going to give you 10 ways to do research so that you are much better equipped to actually write your book. Welcome to Life and Business. I'm Diana Nordstrom, and this channel is all about life and business as a solopreneur and small business owners. So let's dive into the 10 ways that you can do research for your book. Number 1, YouTube videos. So you're watching this right now. This might be part of your process already, but going in and YouTubing your subject or ways to do stuff relating to your book. I'm going to do a video as well on all of the things that surprised me I had to do when publishing a book. So I will give you a link in the subscription when I get that done. Number 2, interview experts. So for my book, I interviewed I think 5 or 6 psychologists and experts within the area of expertise that I was writing about. So that was really valuable, because that not only gave me a lot of information, it also helped me validate what I was writing. So whenever I had a tip or something, I could back it with something that an expert on the topic was saying, which makes it much more credible. So that's an amazing way to actually get validation into your book, to get quotes and interviews from experts. Number 3, listen to podcasts. It's getting ideas, getting more information on the topic you're going to be writing about. And I had this thing but then I'm just going to write whatever they're writing, and that's not okay. But with the videos from YouTube and the podcast as well, it's kind of like you're getting the ideas, you're getting all of the information in, and then you're putting your spin on it in your book. So you are taking whatever you're reading and then you're putting your angle on it. It's a really good way to get ideas, just get your mind going about the topic that you want to write about. Number 4, make observations that you can reference in your book. For example, how many blue cars are driving by on a normal Saturday? That might be something, I don't know where that would be relevant. It can be anything, right? It's just that the observation, knowing that, okay, so we saw this many people who did this, so 50% of whatever, so that you can use that for statistics and use that in your book. Number 5, I really love this one, Amazon comments. So whenever you go in and watch the reviews on Amazon, you can usually see what people find missing in that book. Let's say that I wrote a book about 10 ways to do research, and someone in the comments was saying, hey, that's really good. What about looking at the comments on Amazon? That's one way that didn't go into my book that you can put into your book, and you will see going through all of the comments on the different books that's within the area that you're working on, and you can go through all of the books within your area of the book that you're writing, right, and see is there any commonalities, what's missing from the different books. And then of course you take the must-haves in the area, and then you also put in those parts that's missing from the other books, because then your book is going to be even better than the ones that are already on the market. So I would also love to know what's your favorite method of doing research when you're writing a book. Just let me know in the comments. I love to be inspired. Number 6, read books. It's kind of falls along with watching videos and listening to podcasts, but reading actual books and getting inspired. It could also be going to Amazon again and looking at the table of content of other books. So not even necessarily reading them, I do recommend that though, or listening to them, but going in there and see, okay, so what have other people written about this topic? What are the chapters? What's their main focus, and get inspired by that. Hey guys, I'm just going to jump in here real quick and say, if you like the tips so far and getting any value, please do like and subscribe to the channel and ring that little bell to get notified whenever I give you even more videos. I look so much forward to hearing all of your comments about the video. Number 7, look at other people's research. And actually I wrote look at academic research here, because there's quite a difference. Academic research is usually a bit more boring to read. No, it's written in a different language, and you need to have all of these references all of the time. And if you read a book, you don't necessarily have to have that. If the same watching a YouTube video or listening to a podcast, people won't be having all of these references to all of these different things in there. So it might be a bit more boring in that context. But what this gives you is, well, a lot of in-depth knowledge that's really been researched, but it also gives you other, like, see, okay, so they were using these 3 articles as inspiration for whatever they were researching. There might be something there for me. And bonus, not a lot of people are going to dive into the academic research because it's kind of time consuming. Number 8, interview people for their stories. So one thing is interviewing experts, the other is interviewing people for their stories to give this authenticity to your book. So I did it for my book. I interviewed 15 people other than the experts and told their story as part of the book. That makes the book relatable. So for you, if you're a coach, it might be having some interviews from people telling about what they got from the coaching technique that you're trying to write about or that you are writing about. Oh, it could also be actually, I'm getting ideas here. It could be interviewing or recording a coaching session. So using the technique that you're trying to explain in the book, do a recording, get okay from the coachee and then record it and then transcribe it into the book as an example. That could be a really interesting way to do it. In general, with interviews, what I learned is that it takes a lot of time to transcribe, but it also gives a better product. So I do recommend, actually, when you're interviewing, what I did is I transcribed it word for word. Then I went through it again and kind of made it more into a readable story. Then I went through it one more time to get it downsized in a way that still made sense, but would also be interesting for the reader. The thing that's important in this aspect is that I work through this material so much that it's way easier for me to reference when I'm then writing the book. It makes it way easier for me to go back and to get other ideas based on it because I've gone through it so many times. So that's definitely also a little tip, even though it's time consuming. Number 9, make a questionnaire. The amazing thing about questionnaires is that if you do your questions right and do this, make your questions and then, maybe I should do a video on questionnaires. If you want that, let me know in the comments. Choose your questions and then take a small sample size, send it out to 5-10 people, ask how they understand the questions. Because it's really important for you that the questions are very clear, because otherwise you won't be able to use the information you're getting. But the positive thing about doing questionnaires, or the great thing about doing questionnaires, is that you can get it out to much more people, and that will validate it more. You will get a more clear understanding of their feedback on the questions that you're asking them, because having a sample size of 10, then one person is 10%, but having a sample size of 1,000, then you're down to 100% or 100 people for 10%, right? So it will be more accurate what you're finding the more people answer, which is why questionnaires can be a really, really, really good thing. And number 10, it's actually related to the questionnaires. It's asking questions on Facebook, Reddit, and YouTube, places like this. I did this in one of my videos where I got 103 answers, and that was just one question, but you can get a lot of information from just one question and use the different methods together. You could do what I did for my master thesis, which is kind of like a book. So I did interviews with people, and then after finishing all of that and handing it in, I did a questionnaire to validate the findings. So you could do that and say, well, I have these quotes from these interviews, and by the way, this quote is actually supported by this survey I did where I asked like 200 people and they're saying the same thing. So you could use the interviews as a base to figure out what kind of questions do you want to ask in your questionnaire, and then use that to support the quotes that you have in the book. And I would love to know what your next book is going to be about. Remember, have fun and get shit done. Bye.